Hello everyone, this is T1AO, the one and only. On this video I want to talk about DC, specifically their recent movies. Now I know you're probably thinking this is unnecessary, plenty of people have spoken about this, but instead of just talking about negatives and how some failed expectations, I want to talk about what they could have done and what they can do for the future. Now, we were first introduced to Zack Snyder's vision of the DC Universe with the movie Man of Steel. This was released a little after everyone got off the high of Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, which was a perfect time to introduce a new DC hero in my opinion, and I gave Zack Snyder a break on this one. It's very hard to do Superman. The reason why people love the main heroes of a story is because their life is relatable to their own. Because of this factor, people cheer for the hero or heroine when they overcome their hardships. It can be said that you subconsciously live vicariously through that character because he or she inspires you to be more and do more. That's why Batman is so popular, because everyone can relate to him. Superman, on the other hand, it begs the question, how do you relate to a near omnipotent being? Superman has godlike powers, barely any weaknesses, and only gets stronger under Earth's yellow sun. Part of the reason why Christopher Reeves' Superman did so well was because Hollywood appealed to the Christ-like similarities Superman's character has. He was the son of a mysterious being whose people and culturally advanced society could not come close to understanding. He was sent down to solely protect the people of Earth and even die for them if he had to. Even while he's on Earth, he constantly seeks counsel from his father on what to do and how to save the human race. And Christopher Reeves' acting even portrayed him as a wise, understanding, and patient being, forgiving people's mistakes, especially the scenes where he interacted with Lois. There was even talk when making the film how the directors actually interacted with religious communities to make sure some scenes with Superman actually appealed and coincided with how Jesus would approach the situation. However, since some people frown upon religion in movies nowadays, even metaphorically, Zack Snyder needed to find his own original way to introduce Superman. So he appealed to family and how Superman is basically an adopted immigrant, which people in this world can relate to. Your original parents moved you to a new home to provide you a better future, and then you find out the parents you have adopted you, and you want to find out more about where you actually came from. I even have friends who have went through similar transitions. Then you find out some of your own people are trying to take over the home you adopted, so you're torn. You don't want to fight your own people, but at the same time, you don't want to abandon the people that brought you up. By appealing to this aspect of Superman, I personally feel like the movie was going to bring about a new era of his character that everyone could enjoy. I even remember watching it for the first time and was like, oh crap, this is some epic stuff. I understood the ridiculous, over-the-top fights because, after all, Kryptonians were trying to reform the planet and only Superman could fight all of them. And I even understood where Zod was coming from and how his sole duty was to protect and serve Krypton, even if he had to take over Earth and rebuild it. There was just one thing that ruined the entire movie for me, and that's when Superman broke Zod's neck. And I know comic readers are going to be like, well, Superman has killed Zod before in the comics to protect the people of Earth. It's to show Superman will kill if he has no other choice. For all you comic readers, I feel you and I understand where you're coming from. But the core of Superman's character would never allow himself to kill unless he felt like there was literally no way in the universe he could escape such a terrible act. The reason to me why Superman is displayed or has been displayed as the poster boy of all superheroes is because he is the one hero who, no matter what happens, always finds a way. That is Superman's character. If you alter that trait about him in any fashion, way, or form, then he is not Superman. This is why I thoroughly enjoyed Christopher Nolan's interpretation of Batman. Yes, he altered Batman's universe to fit a real-life setting, and because of that, he changed the origins and abilities of some villains. But what he didn't alter was the core of those characters. No matter what happened throughout the trilogy, Batman did not kill and became a symbol people respected and some even aspired to. Ra's al Ghul's idealism of purging the Earth from evil lived on and became immortal, although he did not. Joker was still the man on the balance beam between genius and insanity, and was an agent of chaos because of it. Two-Face's obsession with how everything should be fair based on the flip of a coin was still apparent. Bane's intimidating nature, strength, and surprisingly strategic mind did not change either. Although, I didn't like the fact how Talia was portrayed and how she was behind everything, but that's another topic. But the point is, to me, altering the storylines of heroes and villains don't bother me as long as it makes sense. Shows some real thought into it and does not change the core of who those characters are. And the simple fact that Superman killed in Zack Snyder's first movie installment of him gave the impression that in the DC universe, it's okay to kill even if it is Superman. Superman could have flew up into space with him and averted further disaster before Zod even attempted to burn a family with his heat vision. If he could not reason with Zod, then he could have found a way to imprison him again. I feel like he had other options besides murder. Which leads me into Batman vs. Superman. The amount of killing Batman did in that movie was just uncalled for. He even killed people in the crossfire of his Batwing's turrets that probably didn't even have to die. It's almost as if Zack Snyder was enforcing the idea that killing is okay as long as they're bad guys. And I know he was portraying the series Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, but even in that animated movie, the only person Batman kills is Joker. He is harsher to other criminals, but he still doesn't cross the line with them. In Batman vs. Superman, though, it's like Batman just doesn't care. He's no different from the Huntress or Marvel's Punisher in that aspect. And the movie Batman vs. Superman itself was literally a copy and paste of other animated movies. I'm sorry to say this, especially since I do know there are people who actually enjoyed the movie, but there was nothing original about it. How Batman meets Wonder Woman is a copy and paste of a Justice League episode where they are both undercover trying to gather intel. A majority of the Batman vs. Superman fight scene is from the Batman: The Dark Knight Returns movie. Even weaponizing kryptonite in an aerosol form was directly from the movie. Even when Superman is fighting Doomsday, the fight itself and how Superman dies, air quotes, is from the 2007 animated movie Superman Doomsday. How Lois holds him after he dies to the funeral they have of him is all from that animated movie. Only difference is Batman and Wonder Woman were not present in the animated film. And how Lex Luthor was portrayed is a whole nother conversation in and of itself. So is Suicide Squad. I personally feel like the best characters in that film were Deadshot, played by Will Smith, Harley Quinn, played exactly as she should be by Margot Robbie, Amanda Waller portrayed as a stern, cutthroat woman as she should be by Viola Davis, and Diablo, who also did a good job. The things that seemed out of place, though, was the Joker and how the entire Suicide Squad got along so quickly. Diablo even called them family. Awkward moment in the film. I know there were deleted scenes and whatnot as well, but still, it was rushed and it needed a little bit more work. And I was personally confused by all the sexualized scenes with Harley Quinn. I didn't know if that was supposed to appeal to a bunch of horny teenagers or to Zack Snyder himself. Either way, it was too much of that going on. I understand DC is competing with Marvel and vice versa. They have been for years, but I feel like since Marvel has more content than DC in movies and shows, DC feels like it has to rush to catch up to Marvel. And any work that is rushed doesn't live up to the potential it could have had. Now, if I was part of the studio production, I would have made it to where Christopher Nolan and Zack Snyder were actually co-directors of the upcoming DC films. The reason being is because Christopher Nolan is great at storytelling in movies and knows how to create characters to where everyone can relate to and enjoy without having to actually read the comics. Christopher Nolan does lack in action scenes, however. Zack Snyder, on the other hand, makes great action scenes and has great ideas, but it's not executed properly. If both of these directors play to their strengths and let the other make up for their weaknesses, there's no doubt in my mind that DC films would surpass Marvel films in ratings. And instead of introducing Batman or Superman again, I feel like they should have started with Wonder Woman. I know Wonder Woman is going to have her own movie this year, but that should have been the very first movie that came out in my opinion. Since Batman has had a whole bunch of movies, shows, games, animated films, and now they're even making a Lego Batman movie, I feel like everyone knows who Batman is. Same thing with Superman. Movies, shows, especially Smallville for 10 seasons, and animated films as well, everyone knows about Superman. And since Superman has been the poster boy for DC for years, even people who don't know other superheroes automatically think of Superman when they think superhero. Starting out with Wonder Woman would have brought multiple audiences together. For one, not to sound sexist or anything, but she is a woman. That would have brought in most females to the DC movie franchise, because remember, Wonder Woman came out during the times when women empowerment was going under a drastic movement, which was World War II. This is a time where men went to fight in the war, and women not only continued their duties as housewives, but actually got jobs just to support their household while the men were away fighting. So women were going through a lot and were proving they were capable to do the work of men just as good as them. The Wonder Woman comics, especially the show, inspired a lot of women to break away from the traditional sense of how men thought women should be. Even my mom still loves Wonder Woman, and she wasn't even into the comics when she was younger. And since Wonder Woman is from DC Comics, this would have brought both female and male audiences together. Plus, Wonder Woman is enriched in Greek mythology. Anyone who also loved Greek mythology would go see Wonder Woman just to see another take on Greek mythological figures. Wonder Woman's origin is full of rich storytelling I feel like other people do not know about unless they read the comics. So again, if I was part of the studio production, I would have made sure the first quarter of the movie told the story of Wonder Woman's mother and how she had Diana, as well as explained the mythological world of Greek. The second quarter showed Diana train as an Amazon and have someone from man's world invade Themyscira. This would give Wonder Woman an incentive to actually venture out into man's world in the third quarter of the movie and see all the destruction they cause having wars. Then in the fourth quarter, actually fall in love with one, but doubt if man's world is worth saving. Then towards the end of the movie, you see Superman make some sort of cameo saving people. This would inspire Diana to continue to be Wonder Woman and nicely transition into Superman. Because remember, Superman not only inspires ordinary people, but his character also inspires other heroes to keep on fighting the good fight. Then at the end of Superman, have Bruce meet Clark Kent and have Diana make a cameo by returning to man's world as Wonder Woman. Then transition into a Batman movie where Batman keeps tabs on both Superman and Wonder Woman because he sees them as a potential threat. It would also be a good opportunity to get a new look at how the older Batman differs from when he first started out. Instead of going back to his origin where his parents were killed, the movie could have started out with him and Robin fighting crime and then Joker beating Robin to death, which would immediately give the audience the sense that Batman still may not kill, but he has gotten darker because of all of his experiences with villains in the past, especially the one resulting in Robin's death. And the main villain of his movie could have been a threat he needed help to stop and reaches out to Superman and Wonder Woman. Then Superman and Batman could have had a mini fight scene to show the tension between them when they first meet. To make a whole movie revolved around that, though, is unnecessary, in my opinion. We all know Superman and Batman start out not liking each other since Batman sees Superman as a dangerous threat because of his powers and Superman doesn't like Batman because of his methods of taking down criminals. But the more they combat evil as a team, the more they start to see each other as best friends. That's something that can gradually be portrayed throughout sequels instead of mashing it into one movie. Then because Batman realizes the threat is more major than he originally thought, the other superpowered heroes Batman has been keeping tabs on can also come out of the woodwork as well, since it would be a danger to the world. It would be reminiscent of how the Justice League first came together, as well as a good opening for a Justice League movie along with each respective hero's solo movies. There are just other ways to go about the franchise instead of compacting loads of information into one movie title and hoping for the best. Though Marvel is still ahead, DC can still gradually make its debut with its heroes. But thank you for listening. Please continue the discussion in the comments below. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on the matter and what DC should do to improve the quality of their movies. If you agree or disagree with what I said, I'll be happy to participate in the discussions as well to see other ideas or takes people that may have another issue on the matter. Drop a like and share the video if you enjoyed it too. This has been T1AO, the one and only. Peace out.